Wow. Hey, hey, hey. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I was sitting here going through, I had a good morning to start off with. I was thinking of the song by Richard Smallwood. Thank you for waking me up this morning and starting me on my way. And just starting me on my way. I couldn't stop thinking about that, thanking him for just starting me on my way, and I'm grateful for that. What a difference a saltine cracker. What a difference a saltine cracker can make in your morning. Oh, yes, I had that thing going. Oh, yes. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I had to start off. It's another week's journey, and the Lord has brought us through, and I'm very glad about it. I'm excited about what the week has done for us and how we've been walking in a daily rhythm, walking in our freedom because it was time to be free. That's what we've been talking about all month long. It's time to be free, recognize our identity, and we've learned how to break the chains. And then we came into learning how to walk in our freedom. It has been a true month that we've been through, and this journey has been a blessed journey, and it has had its shares of trials. And even though it's had its shares of trials, tests, and some of us some tribulations through some sickness and some pains, guess what? Somehow we made it. Somehow we made it. Through it all, God has brought us through. Do I have a witness to that? And so therefore we celebrate on this 8th month, 29th day, Friday, the 29th of August, 2025. Woo! And we're going into the Labor Day weekend, and I pray that you really enjoy your weekend. As some of you are traveling to different places, that you get safe travel to and from. I pray that God moves in your life mightily. So I want to say good morning, grand risings to all of you that are joining me on today. Oh, let me get on here. Sharon Fritt and T out of Salt Lake City, Utah. What a great time it is to be alive. But you got to rejoice in the Lord, saith the Lord. Rejoice in me, rejoice in me, rejoice in me, saith God. I have come into a place that God has really blessed me. I tried to pull a stunt God didn't allow me to do. And if you got a prayer partner or a friend that God has allowed you to connect to, don't play that role. I can just, I'll just deal with it later, because you don't have to have them. It's a privilege and an honor to have someone in your life that will pray for you. Ooh. Woo. All right, so I'm grateful for that. And excuse me, I have an allergy and I'm working with it. So, again, good morning to all. And I'm so glad you're on. Hey, Lorraine Adams, thumbs up to you. And I want to say, so we're moving from our identity to authority, from breakthrough to daily rhythm. Let's do a recap of what has happened on this week alone of walking in our freedom. Day one was stepping into our identity. This is not a suggestion, it's a summons. We learned that very quickly. I just want to do that little recap right there. Oh, I'm so grateful to God. And we knew when we got to that point that there's something that God just does. Okay, he just does. You were not born to wander. You were born to walk in divine design. That's just it. Okay, identity is not discovered in comfort. It's activated in obedience. We come to find that out really good. And heaven isn't asking you to be ready. It's commanding you to rise. Boom. Just rise to the occasion. Oh, God, I love that. And so we know that God is speaking to us prophetically. We understood that. And so we are stepping forward physically and prophetically into the scroll of what God has given us an assignment to do. And we're breaking the agreements with delay and declare our true name. I want to just give you that because I know it's doing. Hi, Aisha, good to see you on. So we say again, I'm not waiting. I'm not walking. I'm not waiting. I am walking, however. I'm not hiding. I am rising. And I step into my true identity. We learned that on day one. And on day two, we talked about cultivating daily freedom. Yeah, because I put all this into action, and it's working, trust me. Freedom isn't a feeling. It's a rhythm. Do we have an agreement to that? Freedom isn't a feeling, it's a rhythm. Freedom must be fortified. It's not just felt. Daily disciplines protect what breakthrough unlocks. So I'm not a visitor. You're not a visitor. You are a resident of liberty. Ah, my God, that's what we learned. And so we have to guard our gates, our ears, our thoughts, and relationships, and build daily rhythms of worship, word, and warfare. It's a rhythm. I'm telling you, I'm feeling this right here, and I got to stay connected in this point of just staying calm, okay? So, we cultivate daily freedom, and we water what God gave us, and we walk in the rhythm. We walk in rhythm with heaven. Walking in rhythm. So that's one of the things we got in the place. And then when we got to day 3, we had authority over darkness. How about that? You were not born to coexist with darkness. You were born to confront it. Authority is not noise, it's knowing. Authority is not noise, it's knowing. Okay? You don't need to be loud, you need to be legal. A lot of people make a lot of noise, but they're not legal. They don't even know their rights. So when you remember your name, you recover your voice. We understood that. I can't go into it all like that, but if you go back through this week, you will find out it's a lot to it. And so we identify areas. We had to learn to identify areas where you've tolerated what you were called to terminate. How many people did that? If you did, put a 0 there. Did you identify any areas that you've tolerated what you were called to terminate? Did you speak with authority over your atmosphere, your mind, and territory? If you haven't, start doing it. So I know I walk in authority. I do not tolerate. I terminate, and I've been doing that. And I release freedom everywhere I go. So I have it where I'm going. I have to make sure I do it. And then finally, we got to this place of releasing the sound, that sound of freedom in day 4. Your freedom has a sound. It's a time to let it roar. Wow, look at all those zeros on there. Okay. All right. So your freedom has a sound, and it's time to let it roar. Freedom isn't silent. It sings, it shouts, it shifts atmospheres. Did you hear me? It sings, it shouts, and it shifts atmospheres. That's what it does. And your testimony is a weapon. Your worship is a war cry. I could go into that, but I can't do it right now. I want to tell you something. It's really important that you realize that. And the sound of freedom breaks chains for others. Your sound of freedom, your walk in freedom, whatever God has freed you in, that you just take action and live, guess what it does? It breaks chains for others, whether they tell you or not. And that's where I wanted to go. And you'll hear me talk about that in a few minutes, because many people will never tell you that I was set free by how you've been living and how God has used you. And the fact that you have held on all this time in spite of it and walked in it, regardless of what it looked like, you show forth the freedom of God. And I ask God to give me that God has given you, that they could be at peace like you are. Oh God. So, you're learning that you had to learn how to release your testimony aloud at the right time to the right people. Because worship prophetically over your home and family and regions causes things to shift. So I release the sound of freedom. Worship in my home is the sound of freedom. My voice carries breakthrough. That's why I worship and praise. That's why I teach the church how to lift their voice in praise. It is hard when you're teaching that because the enemy never wants people to have clarity on the power of their voice and the anointing that's in their voice and how it carries breakthrough. My worship shifts atmospheres. Okay? And so that makes the difference. So let's look at where we're going today. All right? Let's look at that. Now, if you've been blessed by that overview, as we call it, for the week, I need you to put in a number 2, because that means you can go back to YouTube and look up each one of these days, or look at the whole month of It's Time to Be Free and come into all the things we've covered for the month. Yeah, that 0 means, yeah, what I said too, the power of agreement is, yeah, you're right. I've come into agreement with some things that have made the difference. And I'm not afraid and ashamed of it. So today, we're dealing with the conclusion of the matter, all right? Freedom in relationships and commission to set others free. That's what we're dealing with. So when he said, rejoice in me, sometimes that can be very hard. But the more you realize that freedom commands surrender, and surrender causes greater relationship because it starts with Christ. And the more intimate you become with Christ, the more you have a relationship with the Father, things begin to shift in you and even how you handle relationships with others. Wow. It does make a difference. And the more you begin to deal with it, it causes change. When they had the nonviolence movement, as they still do, it's still being taught, I often wondered, how did people live like that? And I remember talking to Mrs. King, and because they were taught it, they lived it. It was rough. I would say, how did you do that? And how did you move past the things that were done to your husband? And she said, because we were taught. It became real to us. We lived it. It wasn't just words. I walked with it with my husband. And it didn't mean that things did not come up, that I felt a certain way at times. But I knew the power of it. And once she realized the power of it, that's what made her free. And so they were walking in a freedom that others could not understand. You know, there were other groups that said, no, I'm not turning another cheek. I'm not walking like that. I'm not Gandhi. Okay? I'm none of those people. I'm not moving like that. We're gonna take them down. Let's get them. But there was something about that movement, and again, I'm calling the movement that shifted the atmosphere. It didn't come without a cost, and a price was paid, but it caused us to be where we are today. Oh, this is so good. So, what happens with us? When we're moving in freedom, there's a price. There's a cost. People don't want to talk about it, but there's a cost to your freedom. You pay a price to get there. It just doesn't happen overnight. You learn things about yourself that you have to get together with. So live as free people, but do not use your freedom as a cover-up for evil. Live as God's slaves. 1 Peter 2:16. Freedom affects how we love, forgive, and relate to others. When you're truly free, you stop needing others to validate you. Somebody talk to me. Okay? You stop needing others to validate you. You only would like to be validated by those who truly see who you are, and they're validating the right you. What is the right you? The one that is really coming forward, the true gifting that's inside of you. We all want to be validated. We all need someone to validate us, our parents, our fathers, our uncles, our aunts, the pastor, the boss on the job, supervisor. Let's not play about it. Don't act like you don't need it. We do, but we need it to come from the right people. And we seek validation many times from the wrong people. First of all of our promotions and elevations come from God. And the first validation we should receive is from the Lord and the heavens itself. He always sends someone to confirm the call of our life and validate the things that we're doing. Wow. But when you have a freedom affects how we love, and it is so true, how we forgive, how we relate to others. And I know it. Oh, and I cannot believe how I allowed a couple of things to change how I cared for people, to change how I forgave and how I related to others. Because of what other people, their perception, their feelings, and how they moved, their insecurities. Wow. Come on, somebody. Yeah. So when you're truly free, again, you stop needing others to validate you. You stop manipulating, controlling, or fearing rejection. That's for all of us. I don't care how long you've been saved, my brother and my sister. It's the truth. All right? You begin to love from a place of wholeness. 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 The pain of not receiving enough love growing up leaves. The rejection that you received because you know you did a good job and you worked all the time and people overlooked you leaves because you start doing things that will open you up to even look maybe for another job. A place that will receive and utilize what you have. Not because you're trying to manipulate anything. You're just being who you are as a person that knows your worth. You're not in a relationship that's trying to control your life and stifle you, choke out who you are, choke you out that you can't even walk in freedom. It's almost like you, everywhere you go, you got a leash around you. It doesn't tighten up on you till you make one step to the left and you start saying, hey, how you, click, you feel like you're choking. Oh. You ever had friends that don't want you to be friends with nobody else but them? We don't have to get into relationships with spouses. Just talk about our friends sometime. Okay, I rest my case. Let me move on. So God wants your relationships to reflect His grace. I can't help but remember myself coming to the Poconos, starting ministry, not having a care in the world about loving and caring for people, forgiving and relating to others in a way that others could not understand, and allowing the bitterness. Yes, that's why I'm being very transparent about it. And if you are a leader, a head prayer warrior, whatever you're doing in life, the bitterness of people or the way they've treated you, and you knew even with that, I would still treat people with a lot of respect. And I would hear people say, how could you do that? Did you know what they've done to you? You know what they said? And still continue to move on. There was something about that freedom that I had. I said, well, it doesn't make a difference because at the end, whatever's going to happen, they have to eat what they've done. They have to eat what they've sown. They'll have to deal with that. All of those things they'll have to deal with. And I would continue to love, continue to do, continue to move. Now there's some things I needed to gain some wisdom in. Yes, I would say that, because you don't keep putting your hand in the lion's den and in the tiger's cage, because it will bite your hand off no matter how many times you try to feed it and be good to it and show that I'm not here to harm you. Okay? So there is that element that happens. But I could not believe how I allowed myself to make many changes that should not have gone through all of that. Okay? That should not have been me. That should not have been me. All right, that was not who I had been called to be. And I always remember, no matter what people had done, the Lord would say to me, "What would you have me to do?" I could do this. And I would say, "No, Lord." And I've said this testimony to many who have sat at the table with me. And I would say, "No, Lord, because it could have been me, and you always spared my life. Have mercy. Have mercy." And he would turn around as I'm walking, and I would get up from whatever had been happening. He said, "And that's why I called you here." See? Now, some of you may not even understand that, and I can get it, because like, hey, you stab me, I stab you. You kill my dog, I kill your cat and your dog, some of you say. But that's not how it was for me. I'm a soul winner. I am a soul winner. And I had to ask myself when things would happen, and I no longer heard God's voice say, "What would you have me to do?" to get that response from me of, "I would rather for you to have mercy because it could have been me. And there's some things that I have done that someone prayed for mercy for me. I pray the same for them." When I stopped hearing that voice, it made me check myself. That means I began to allow others to affect and take my freedom and how I related to others, how I forgave, and how I loved, based upon how people, I allowed how people saw it and spoke about it. It made me become very paranoid. Isn't that something? Now, many of you may not say anything about it. You may sit there and say, that's something, but that's what happens. Everybody's not a dog. Everybody's not a cat. Meow. There are good people in this world, and they're not few, far, and in between. There are many people that are not out to take advantage of folk. There are some very good people out here. Wow. Okay, so this part of freedom in relationships is very important. God, listen, God wants your relationships to reflect his grace. And that's what I did. When others could not understand it, that's what I did. And that means setting boundaries. Now watch what I'm doing now. That means, because I'm learning something from this, that means setting boundaries, extending forgiveness, and choosing humility, because freedom doesn't mean isolation. It means healthy connections. So what did I do? I'm not staying where I'm not tolerated. I'm not sitting in unhealthy relationships. That's what made the difference in how now I can love, how now I can relate to others, and how I forgive. Now that was powerful. Go ahead, brother. Hey, Apostle Spalding, good to see you on today. Powerful man of God, you and your wife. Okay, I mean that. So this is what makes the difference. Now, the reason I'm not letting the tears fall and flow is because that was a very powerful lesson. So he says, look, he wants my relationships to reflect his grace. But his grace also says that means setting boundaries. You don't let the enemy cross over into your camp. You don't have to be tolerated. You don't have to stay in toxic relationships of any type. Abusive relationships, addictive relationships, manipulative or controlling relationships or situations. You know your self-worth. You don't have to do that. You're free, and you know how to extend forgiveness and not have to worry because you know who you are. There's a wholeness in you. So you're choosing humility, which is a beautiful feeling. And it's a beautiful knowing that you can do this and walk freely in it. And as you do that, freedom doesn't mean I have to go into isolation in order to have my freedom. But it does mean I can have healthy connections. And I choose to have healthy connections. And when I know, and I don't make any bones about it when somebody says to me, especially when they pull me to the side and say, I don't understand why you really just don't talk to me. And, because I know you're messy. I don't play the game. I mean, I say it out amongst people because I'm not going to embarrass you because I know you're messy. I know that you're going to say things. You're not going to take it back correctly. I know you're going to recreate something that's unnecessary. And I don't want to be a part of that. Because you're going to make me a part of something anyway, and I haven't said a word. You see how that worked? How many people can I get a witness on here? Healthy connections keeps me healed. Healthy connections keeps my mind safe. Healthy connections keeps my heart right. Healthy connections keep my emotions in check. Healthy connections keeps me spiritually alert, and I can still grow spiritually. And those boundaries are very important to me. And I guard those areas of my life very strongly. Wow. Listen, I think this is a real good place right here. And so as we do these things, I want to make sure I get this to you really correct. You got to ask God to show you one relationship that needs healing or boundaries. And take one step toward relationship, one step toward relations or clarity. I want clarity in the boundary or the healing of a relationship. Excuse me. I got to get my head together. I'm thinking, I need to know what it is that God wants me to do. I'm moving faster in my mind, speaking quick. My brain is not catching up. I need to take one step toward restoration or clarity. That's what I'm trying to say. I was stuck on relationships, so please forgive me, everybody. One step toward restoration and clarity, or clarity. I need clarity for whatever that restoration may be, and be able to step toward it. Woo. And write it. Write. What does a free relationship look like? What does it look like to you? Write it out. What does it look like to you? And how can you bring more grace into your connection? I wrote that out. That was as funny to me. I said, what does a relationship look like to you? What does a healthy relationship look like to you? Laughter, because we're going to talk about the love of God, but not always talk about the things in the church, but the love of God, the power of God, and not always the people in the church. The fun, oh yeah, this is fun. Fun, spades, laughing, Pokino. You asked me what does a relationship, a free relationship look like? Okay, I don't roller skate no more, but when I did, I love to talk about roller skating because I knew when I got out there, I looked like a knock-kneed horse. You know you wanted to laugh because you were trying to figure out what does a knock-kneed horse look like on skating. Out there skating on the skating ring. What does it look like? Yeah. Food. I'm a foodie. Let's go out and eat. I'm hungry. And let's find something different. I don't mind going to the China buffet every now and again, but let's try something different. Yeah. What are you cooking? Are you going to make a different meal? Want to try a different dish? Want to throw something in there? Let's try it on ourselves first and then invite others over after we done tried it out and see how good it is. Wow. See, he's also commissioned us to set others free. Now, I'm going to take a little break right here. I need you to do that share. I want you to share this page with someone, but I need you to hit that like button. Everybody hit that like button, Facebook, YouTube, hit that like, hit that thumbs up on that page that says a thumbs up or whatever. Hit that like. That's right. Hit it right now. Start hitting it right now because the producer's going to tell me if you're doing that. And then share it. Share it with some people you know. You don't have to share it with me because I'm already here. And I already done my sharing. So, but share it with someone, but like it. Hit that like, okay? I'm hitting my like right now. Bam. Okay. Hit the like. Hit the like. Okay, hit it now. Put it in there. I need you to do that right now, and he's going to tell me in a few minutes what you're doing. Okay? But you want to make sure that you understand that you've been commissioned in your freedom to set others free. And a calf. Okay, I saw that. Some of your book people, listen, I like Audible books. I love Audible books. Okay? But that's what I'm saying. Just do it. Oh. And he's going to let me know in a few what you're doing here. And that's going to be good. So as you are commissioned to set others free, out of Luke 4:18, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me. He has sent me to proclaim freedom for the prisoners. Okay? So freedom is contagious. So that's why when we talk about freedom, people get a little bit upset with you. That's why I say it separates us when we begin to look into this. And I hope that you're getting this. When we talk about, all right, whoa, Facebook, you did pretty good here. Tubers, you're doing good. All right. Okay, so when we talk about how contagious it is, freedom is something different. You know, what I like about when we talk about stuff like this and how deep it gets, because, you know, when we talk about salvation, when we talk about the goodness of the Lord, everybody can seem to join us and say, yeah, God is good. Oh, yeah, I know he's good. The man upstairs is good. Oh, the great master. Yeah, yes, all of that you can say is good. But when you start saying, I'm free in God. Yeah, honey, he whom the Son set free is free indeed. But when you start going from different levels and from glory to glory, different rims, from one rim to the next, and from one level to the next, and from one dimension to the next dimension, you find out people are not always walking in the total freedom that God has called them into. Now we start separating some things. Tell me more. Because when we say freedom is contagious, and you weren't just set free for yourself, you were commissioned to help others and find freedom too, help others find freedom too. Your story matters. Those books that people are writing, Their stories matter. Okay, your healing is a weapon, people. We don't see that. And this is why we need to learn. We need to learn. We need to learn. And I know I have people that's always telling me and sharing, you know, you got to preach about sin and sin and sin. What shall it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his only soul? Well, this is a part of gaining the part of prospering in your soul. When you learn how to walk in your freedom, when you learn how to walk and love people and be free in who you are, to forgive and know your boundaries and know how to have healthy connections and not just say, you're walking around here and you're living here and you're doing this and you're doing that. We got to come up from that and we got to bring that in the mix of it and still move people into different dimensions and different levels in God, because we got to reach the lost. But it's more to it than just telling them that they can't wear their dresses up to the yang and wear their pants down below their boo-boos and don't come in with this and all this makeup and jewelry and you're going to hell. Listen, we all will end up in hell. And you ain't got to wear none of this stuff we preach about. But our souls won't be right. We're still manipulating people. We're still controlling people. We're still hindering the people's walk. Without any makeup, without any jewelry, still wearing shirts and ties, and still hindering them. Sitting in the seat of the scornful. Whew. Lord have mercy. We have to grow. We got to get up from that. We got to let people know, if you want what God has, no, you cannot do everything you want to do and think God is going to bless you. And that goes for all of us. Hidden sins, open sins, round the corner sins, whatever it is, you got it. Ooh, help me, Jesus. I need a drink. Let us journey on. So there comes a time that after we give our lives to Christ and we're walking in Him and we move past some certain things, how do we move in ministry? How do we identify who we are? How do we walk in His grace? And how do we show forth the love of Christ? And as we're showing forth the love of Christ, what does it unlock in us? And when it unlocks things and we're feeling things and we're seeing things, what is that saying to our spirit? We're being wooed into this place, but no one is telling us what place is this wooing us into. Okay. So your healing is a weapon. Your testimony is the key that unlocks people, unlocks someone else's prison. I tell people, you don't have to tell everybody your testimony, but there is a place that you can go.